What's going on, Jeromes? We're back. Happy Tuesday. Daily Jeromes live stream, Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m.-ish Central Time, talking Vikings, talking draft, talking free agency, all that stuff. Thanks for coming along. Also, I feel naked without my face goggles. So whatever. We're good to go. All right, so getting into Q's, we got some A's. We'll give some shout-outs in a second. Tyler Truelson, what's your favorite moment in Vikings history? I would have to say the raid of Paris. Do you know that Paris used to be like an island town as opposed to before it became the full city? Kind of weird. It's like an island fortress. But Vikings history, probably when they drafted Randy Moss, probably the Minneapolis Miracle, Greg Lewis. Welcome to Minnesota. Can't wait for the season starts. Go Vikings. Agreed. George St. Baptiste. How would you feel if the Vikings signed Bryce Love? Man, I really liked Bryce Love when he was at Stanford. It's really unfortunate that he tore his ACL playing in like the Sun Bowl or some pissant bowl game that didn't matter, and it tanked his draft stock. I think that he probably would have been a third or fourth round pick, but Washington picked him up, and just saw some clips of him in camp. It isn't there. Like, guys react to ACLs differently. Every ACL is like a snowflake. They're all different. Where on one end, you have ACLs like Adrian Peterson 2012. Other ACLs are like Derrick Rose when he was with the Bulls. It took like 9 years for him to recover. And Bryce Love, I just don't see it getting together. Bring him in for a workout. See if anything's improved, but I doubt it. Miles, Dalvin Cook screens, where were they at last year? Exactly. Where... If you have mobile, agile, and hostile offensive linemen like Ezra Cleveland, like Bradbury, like Brian O'Neill, why aren't you doing more screens? Just really something that Kubiak dropped the ball on last year. Would like to see more of it this season because, I mean, if you have all these young, light offensive linemen with movement skills, why don't you use it more? I don't get it. Hayden, thanks for the daily live streams. What made you want to do live streaming? Nothing. I dislike it very much, but people like it. Nah, I'm just playing. I think it's a good way to interact with the community and have some more unscripted stuff, just sort of off the cuff talking points. Yeah. Ryan Topper, thank you for all the content and for doing these live streams. Thank you. Keeps me and a lot of others entertained through the season and the draft. You just wait till the off-season where all we talk about is food and booze. It'll be good times. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, it's April 20th today. Pulford Skull. Draft crush wide receivers in the third, fourth round. Jalen Darden, Shi Smith, K. Johnson, and Schwartz. Who are some later round running back draft crushes and also wide receivers you have? Chuba Herbert, Khalil Herbert for me. I like Jared Patterson from Buffalo a lot. I like Khalil Herbert from Virginia Tech, where watching back Christian Darrisaw tape, and then he's like, oh, yeah, the running back is pretty damn good. Herbert's like, he kind of reminds me of Maurice Jones-Drew with a little bit more explosion. Yeah, a bit of a bowling ball type guy. I think he would fit in very well with the scheme. Other running backs, Puka Williams from Kansas, Roundtree from Mizzou. Yeah. In terms of late wide receivers, man, this is such a deep wide receiver class. It's so stupid. Austin Watkins, yes. I even saw a mock where Austin Watkins in the third. I understand it. I think that's a little bit too high. Shi Smith is up there. Jalen Darden is up there. I would go with Mator Bebe from Illinois, from USC. Is intriguing as a really late round guy. Simi Fehoko from Stanford. I think has a chance to be an absolute physical freak. Yeah, it's a really good, deep, fun draft class. There's going to be some wide receivers and some offensive linemen and cornerbacks that will go undrafted that you're like, what? I could have seen them going in the 5th round. It's going to be a really fun draft. Tristan Bailey, bring Griff back and have him play 3-tech and NASCAR package. I would be okay with it, but they would have to get by the Kirk Cousins' ass. Thank you. Where if Everson just stayed the course and just stayed quiet, I think he probably would have been back on the Vikings by now. Perp, do you think you could hit 40K subs before the season starts? It's possible. Where are we at? 37 and change? It's possible. I want to get to 100K by next year's draft. I think we can do it. Well, we'd actually have to put out content that was actually good. So maybe not. But 100K, I think they send you like a plastic plaque, which would be great. No, just give it to producer Ellie because I'm not really into memorabilia except for random things. Football Talk US. Andy, 2 questions. 1, do you see the Chiefs signing either tackle back? So Andy Reid talked about that the door is open for Schwartz or Fisher to be signed back. I think it's possible, although it would be after the draft. I think if they take a guy like Eichenberg or Cosme or Radens in the first round, I think that door is closed. I think they've talked about Kyle Long potentially playing right tackle. I think if they brought a guy back, it would be Schwartz, given that Fisher's still going to be dealing with that Achilles for a while. What would your opinion be if we drafted Phillips over Pay? I would understand it. I think both of them have pretty high ceilings, but if Phillips can stay healthy, and that's what's scary, is that this isn't like a shoulder, this isn't a knee, this is concussions. Like, this is head injuries where all it takes is one and everything is done. Where I understand that Quiddipe does have some medical issues of his own, but I mean, Phillips was a number 1 recruit in the nation in 2018. And showing off some of that prowess. Yeah. They're both really good, though. Orion Topper. I've seen places that say the Vikings are likely to take an edge at 14. I'd like to know how it makes sense at all. Well, I think that's just more the national media talking points where we rally against the national media jabroni haircuts, but also we have empathy because it's really hard to be in depth on 32 separate teams. And last year, I understand the logic. It's like, okay, well, they lost Everson, they lost Weatherly, who is this Afadi guy, and we'll just mock Yeta Gross Meadows or AJ Epinesa to them every single mock draft. This time around, it's more because Daniil was hurt last year, and the Vikings pass rush was so bad. So like, pass rush bad, add pass rusher. Even though Daniil will be back, DJ Wanham, I believe, in year 2. So I think it's just a sort of a lazy narrative. Yeah. Charlie Mullins. Have you ever or would you collaborate with other YouTubers? Good way to spread your channel. I don't think anyone would want to work with me because I'm so stupid. That's the bottom line. Hi, Mike Coogan. In my opinion, rawness should be a pro instead of con. This just shows that a player has a lot of room to grow. I guess to a degree. And this really comes down to like route runners as wide receivers, as pass rushers having a lot of weapons in the repertoire. But it's sort of like if you're an executive chef, you would rather have line cooks that have no cooking experience or guys that come in as dishwashers that you can train them exactly how you want this, how you want that, how you want everything, as opposed to bringing in cooks who have experience or maybe even guys who went to culinary school that have learned to do things a certain way and they're potentially could be training scars on how they do things. It's not how you want it done. And then you have to break them of those bad habits or bad habits in your eyes and then retrain them from the ground up. So I understand it, where especially in college, where the route trees aren't as mature as you want them to be in the pro game, as well as pass rushers. I mean, generally, you can just get by with maybe 1 or 2 moves. You got power, you got speed, maybe you got a bull rush, maybe you have a spin move. And that's really all you need in college football, even big-time college football. And then you pan out the rest of it as a pro, where everyone's good, everyone's physical. Yeah. Ryan Topper. Do you think Anthony Zell could return and make it this time as number 4 or 5 edge? Probably not. Nah. I had high hopes for Zettel, but didn't quite work out. Hey, let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple shout outs. Pulford Skull. Could we please take Mond at 78? If he gets to 78, sure. I don't think he'll get out of the second round. DG, say we do get the trade done with the Ravens for Orlando Brown Jr. and switch first round picks as part of the package. You think AVT may still be on the board at 27? Probably not. I think he would be hard pressed to get through the gauntlet of, say, the Raiders, Dolphins, Bears, Steelers, maybe even Colts. I don't think he gets through that gauntlet. But if you're still going to take a guard at 27, you could take Wyatt Davis, could take Landon Dickerson, potentially could still be on board. Creed Humphrey, a little bit high for him, but certainly would consider it. Robbie, any update on Jeff Gladney? Nada. have heard nada. I don't think the news has reported anything different. So I think we're just in a holding pattern at this stage. Jared Lewis. Why is everyone overlooking Shaka Toney? I've done research. The man is a beast. He could either be a fourth-round pick or lower and be an immediate rotational guy in a year in Andre Patterson's system. He could be an X-rated Vikings D lineman. I think he certainly got overshadowed by Jason Oweh, even though on paper he was more productive than Oweh. And I think that he will be a really solid mid day 3 pick. If you can get Shaka Toney in 5th round, I think you'll be happy as a clam. So I think that, he has been getting lost in the shuffle. And you've seen this too, where, God. Why am I spacing on names? It's like we're so deep in the... Quincy Roche. This happens sometimes where, especially if you have guys on defense and guys on the same position where they just get overshadowed. Quincy Roche in Miami getting overshadowed because of Jalen Phillips as well as Gregory Rousseau. But I think Quincy Roche is going to be a really solid day 3 guy as well. Formerly of Temple, destroyed things there. Yeah, so Shaka Toney, Quincy Roche are 2 names to keep an eye on. Also, even like Chauncey Golston, where being overshadowed by Davion Nixon, even though they play different positions, both along that defensive line, just happens sometimes. Next up. Oh, yeah, with Shaka Toney, too. I mean, Yader Gross Meadows last year. It happens. Chris Danny Hansen, you find a magic lamp with a genie. He grants you 3 wishes. What are they? To be able to tell the future. That'd be a good one. Number 2, because everyone just wishes for money. Well, what are the rules? Like, you can't bring people back from the dead. You can't wish for more wishes. You can't make someone fall in love with you. But people always wish for money or power. But if you know the future, you can acquire those things pretty easily. In fact, I think you only need 1 wish. I think that'll be it. Well, I guess number 2, knowing the entire history of everything, because that would be really interesting to me. Where, all right, so what really happened on the Big Bang? What happened with the JFK? Is there a life in the universe out there? How did the pyramids get built? What happened to the colony of Jamestown? Lots of things there. 3rd one. God, you really don't need one. Like, if you can tell the future, you'll be able to be good to go with everything. And a 3rd wish. Can I donate it to like UNICEF or something? Oh, 3rd wish, take away all childhood illnesses. There you go. All kids grow up to be healthy. Yeah. All right, a couple shout outs. Yeah, I like those wishes. They went from power and prestige and be able to manipulate the future, as well as personal being selfish because wanting to know history, and then kids. There you go. A couple shout outs. Samson Romaine from St. Anthony, Pulford Skull, Tennessee. What up? Samuel Salinger Skull, Austria. Seth V. Herman's in the Cubicle. Patrick Harm, Cedar Rapids. Abduli Ahmed, Skull from Minneapolis. Purple Rain, Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. What up? Ira Coffin, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Sue Pig. Mark Sonderberg, Rhinelander, Wisconsin. You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Next up. Hey, it's lulled. Andre Cisco or Darius Washington. So they both have drawbacks. Ardarius is obviously the size and frame. Cisco is health. I would take Ardarius. It's pretty close though, because Cisco, you're gambling. If he can stay healthy and if he can recapture 2018 freshman form, then he has a chance to be a really good safety. But Ardarius is just, man, he's like Duke Kaboom. My kids have been watching too much Toy Story, but he's just the guy who's going to throw his body around. He's good in coverage, and he's just really, really fun. He reminds me of like a more physical Buda Baker. And that's saying a lot, because Buda Baker will get after it. So, yeah, I'll take Ardarius. Erickson, trade 14 for 19, and there are 2 thoughts of taking Joke if he gets past the Raiders next Jamal Adams. I do like Joke a lot. I do. And I I actually think he's a souped up Jamal Adams because he is way better in coverage than Jamal Adams ever will be. And he is like the true blue. He's the future. Like you are going to need a guy like him as offenses continue to spread out, as more tight ends are moving all over the field as F players. Hell, Joe could probably cover some slot receivers too. Just insane. Love him. Ryan Topper. Hot take, Paulson Adebo ends up being the best cornerback in the draft. Certainly has the attributes. Certainly could be. Ryan Topper. How do you feel about Terrace Marshall? I don't like his game much at all. I feel like it's Matt got as many chances. I do like Marshall's game. I think that he's a fringe first round guy. I'll put him squarely behind. I don't think him and Bateman are close. I would put him behind Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney. I'll put him slightly above Nico Collins, where everyone forgets about Nico because his 2019 was okay, and then opted out of 2020. But I do like Marshall. I don't think he's going to be a star, but I think he will be a solid number 2 outside receiver somewhere. Evan Kiscano, which edge has the highest ceiling and which has the highest floor in the draft? I'd say highest ceiling, probably going to be Jalen Phillips. Highest floor, I might go Boogie Basham, where all the guys like Kwity Paye, well, Paye's got a pretty high floor too, but Kwity Paye, Aziz, Russo, Joseph Asai, Jason Away, all of them have really high ceilings, but the floors aren't really there. Where Boogie Basham, he can come in and you can plug him in at left defensive end, and at minimum, like he'll be serviceable against the run. He'll bring some power pass rush. Ceiling might not be as high as the other guys, but I think, people are sleeping on Boogie Basham, where it is, you don't have to swing for the fences every at bat. It's perfectly fine hitting a stand-up double. I think Boogie Basham's that sort of guy. Chris Denny Hansen, if you cloned one current Vikings player to start the season, who would it be? Daniil, but they're both healthy clones. Or it would be Jefferson. Or it'd be Brian O'Neill. Brian O'Neill playing both tackles, that'd be pretty sick. John Lindsay, big fan of what you do. Thank you. Should the Vikings bring back Kyle Sluter? Yeesh. Rudy Peel, what are your thoughts on Tylan Wallace, wide receiver from Oklahoma State? I love his feistiness. I love his body control. I think that he actually reminds me of the Stephon Diggs of this class, where you have a guy who's about 6 foot, light, good route runner, good hands, catches outside the body, and is really good in contested catch spots where you wouldn't really expect it. I think that, of course, coming from an air raid style offense with Mike Gundy, would like to see more refinement on the route tree, but I think he's going to be a really good value because a lot of people pointed out, it's like, how come Tylan Wallace didn't make your top 20? That's how deep this wide receiver class is, where I have a guy in Tylan Wallace that I like a lot, just outside the top 20. That's insane. That's great. You're probably going to get Tylan Wallace 4th round, maybe. That's going to be a hell of a steal. Lazy L, any chance we get Trey Lance? I love this guy, best quarterback in the draft. I think you probably have to trade up for him. I have my doubts that the big 5 quarterbacks get outside of the top 10. Well, we'll say top 9 because Cowboys aren't taking a quarterback. Well, unless someone trades up. I will just say top 9. Warpath 1251. Do you think the entire NFC West will make the playoffs? No, I think Arizona will come up short. I don't believe in how Arizona is building their team. I just don't see it. Where they're focusing too much on the glamour positions. So too much sizzle, not enough steak. Perp. Thoughts on the Vikings meeting with Schwartz a couple times. If we give him the faith with Cardinal. Love the speed. Love that he's a tough kid. Like the hands. I am concerned that they never had him return, which could speak about him tracking the ball in flight. So you can sort of cross him off as a kick and punt return because he never did either of those at Auburn. But, I mean, that speed is undeniable. And, really good kid as well. Yeah, I like him. Kane Russell. Name an underrated and overrated player in this year's draft. You had to describe Vikings as a dish. What would they be? See, underrated. I almost want to say that where everyone's trashing this defensive tackle class, but there's Christian Barmore is going to be really good. Should be really, really good. If he had come back for another year and just sort of cut and paste what he did in the college football playoff for a full season, he would be a top 6 pick, top 6, top 7, easily the first defensive tackle off the board. So I would say Barmore's underrated. I think J.C. Horn was underrated before his pro day, and now people are starting to gauge his value correctly. Overrated. Let's do some more underrated. I think Sam Cosmi is underrated. I think Joseph Asai is underrated, and that's not just a Texas thing, because screw Texas. I think that, overrated prospects. I think Rousseau was overrated, but now I think that he's starting to be gauged properly as a late first-round pick. Because remember, a lot of the first mock drafts, I had him Rousseau in like the top 12, top 10. It's crazy. I think Rousseau was overrated. I think Phillips is starting to become a little bit overrated because people are betting as well. Oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. That's a big if. That's a big if, man. I will say... Who else is overrated? I think I'm going to say Rondale Moore, except I think that he's a fringe first-round talent, but a lot like Phillips, you have to take into account the health issues. Oh, I think Pat Freiermuth is underrated. I think Pat Freiermuth is massively underrated. I think that in terms of an inline blocker and a great receiver, some team in the top of the second round is going to get a hell of a tight end. Because all of the pub is about Kyle Pitts, and I don't think that Kyle Pitts is underrated or overrated at all. I think that he is a freaking unicorn, but Freiermuth is just your traditional meat and potatoes type of tight end. Let's see, underrated Boogie Basham. Overrated Jason Away. I get you're betting on the physical upside. Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. I think Slater's a touch overrated. He's a hell of a player, though. I think Darrisaw's underrated. I think Y. Davis has been underrated. I think Etienne is underrated. Yeah. All right, next up. Oh. If you had to describe the Vikings as a dish, what would they be? So, a Wagyu ribeye, well done. Or you're really excited about it, and then you get to it, and you're just like, oh, this could be better. Sam Salinger goal. Trevor or Penny? Trevor. Zach Wilson or Penny? Zach Wilson. How's that even a question? Ryan Marshall. Greater need for our Vikings, pressure or protection? I'd say protection. Because you're going to have pressure. With Daniil there, with Diesel Dalvin Tomlinson as a power rusher, you can generate pressure, even though they could not do it last year at all. Miles, low-key, I'm not a fan of our current tight end depth chart. Irv looks promising, but I don't necessarily think he's shown to be a tight end 1 for a heavy 12 personnel team. Well, I think they'll shift away from that. And also, they do lack a traditional hand of the dirt inline tight end. That's why I like guys like Tommy Tremble, Matt Bushman, Luke Farrell in this draft. So, yeah, I think the Vikings could and should add tight end a little bit sooner than you would think. Meyer, 64. Who are some of the best scheme fit for the Vikings offensive linemen projected to go within the first few rounds of the draft? Kendrick Green, Landon Dickerson, Wyatt Davis, Sam Cosmi, Dylan Radunz. Jenkins, scheme agnostic. Same thing with Darrisaw. Slater needs to be in his own system, so that makes sense. Penny Sewell can play all systems. Let's see, some other dudes. Deontay Smith could be in the mid-rounds. He's really intriguing. Needs to add weight, though, but so does everyone. Creed Humphrey would be a rock star. Drake Jackson from Kentucky, I like. I think that he'll be a day 3 guy. Wheeler Walker Little Jr., the tackle from Stanford. Now we're basically just listing everyone because we like everyone. Basically, guys who are not seen as scheme fit for the Vikings. Cleveland, Ben Cleveland, Trey Smith, Deontay Brown, David Moore. No, that's not his name. Moore, the kid from Grambling. Yeah. Even though, adjust your scheme. Certainly can. Next up. John Brand. Let's say Parsons, Darisaw, and Waddle are there at 14. Who got Darisaw? I would go Darisaw, Waddle, Parsons. Be a good problem to have. Bulford Skull. Kirk Cousins is going to have a career year, not just on paper. Wide receiver 3 will be efficient to good, and J.J. Thielen will be on night. Irv is going to be a top 5 fantasy football tight end. Yes. Chris Eckhoff. Realistically, with the team at full strength and a solid draft addressing any needs, how far could we expect this team to go? All the way. Super Bowl or bust? I'm feeling we're going to be a surprise league this year. Thoughts? Yes, and it's going to piss off the national media jabroni haircuts. They hate the Vikings. Lazy Al, do you like Kwity Paye at 14? I hate it because Edge is no need, not in the first round, and I don't like Kwity Paye. If we go defense in the first, it has to be Parsons, the best pass rusher in the draft. Well, what Parsons not on board? So I would understand Kwity Paye at 14, but with a lot of the picks, and this happens with AVT too, it's not necessarily a player. It's more what it could potentially be on board. So taking Kwity Paye over Christian Darisaw, no. Taking Kwity Paye over Parsons in this example, no. Taking Kwity Paye over Rashawn Slater, nah. Or J.C. Horn, nah. Patrick Harms. Do you think this is the year Rick Spielman's... who do you think is this year's Rick Spielman late round gem? And who do you think will be UFA that will make the team? See, late round gem. Linebacker KJ Britt from Auburn. I understand he ran a slow 40, except dude's like diet taquillo spikes. Just gets it. War damn Eagle. UDFA, they'll make the team. Say Ian Book, quarterback from Notre Dame. Like the plucky Trace McSorley type player. I like Ian Book a lot. I don't know if he's going to be drafted, though. Hayden, do your kids like football? Who's their favorite player? Negative. So the girl is 5, and the boy is almost 2. And, yeah, they haven't shown interest in sports, but that's fine. I don't really care. And Kiskanaway, they like what they like. What do you think about Chris Trapasso saying Landon Dickerson cannot be an NFL center? I did not see the piece. I strongly disagree. Yeah, but respect Trapasso and his opinion. So I'm sure he has good reasoning, even though I disagree. Simon Salinger Skull. Why do so many people say we try not to rebuild? We have such an amazing team. This year, even Colin Coward said we're just a bit better than last year, although he was high on us last year. I don't get it. So many people say we're I don't know if so many people are saying that we need to rebuild. I think in general, people get that, hey, this team is loaded with some good veterans. The young guys got some experience, and they're shoving everything in this year. Otherwise, everyone's getting fired. Yeah. Seth B. Herman. Say we go edge in the first and then trade up and get Radens. What do you think about the offensive line left to right? O'Neal, Radens, Bradbury, Ezra, Udo. That is intriguing. I would prefer Radens at tackle over Udo, or Ezra at tackle over Udo. Yeah, I would rather keep Ole inside. But, I mean, we're definitely going to win a 4x1 relay. We got the speed. We got athletes out there. A little bit light, but what can you do? Gopher. Would you trade Cook for Orlando Brown and a second-round pick? Yes. Yes, because that's how quick running backs go. But also, they have JK2K. Why would they trade for Dalvin? I don't know. But that's it. That's the Daily Jeromes live stream for today. You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. We'll talk to you tomorrow.